Hi again, everybody. As promised, it's me, John Thiel, back with one more video in which I want to focus in and describe one assignment that you'll be doing for me this semester. It's called the History Journal, and I love it. I think you'll enjoy it too. Remember I said in the other video, and you might have seen in the syllabus, that one of your required books is called Retrieving the American Past. And as I said before, this is a customized book. I created the book. I didn't write it, but I put it together from a database. And it's a collection of what we historians call primary sources, primary source documents. These are documents written by people who lived in the time periods that we'll be studying, who experienced the events that we're reading about and debating in our discussion forums. This is basically a book that's a collection of eyewitness accounts of history, your chance to get first-hand points of view on what living in the past was like. And so what you'll do in this History Journal assignment, and this, again, remember, check those modules, because in each weekly module on the overview page, I will list every document in Retrieving the American Past that you should be reading that week. Those documents will pertain to things we're talking about in that week or in that chapter of the textbook. As you read these documents, for each individual document that you read, I want you to keep a running journal in a Microsoft Word file somewhere on a flash drive that you can access and update as needed, so you can send it to me when I collect it. And what you're going to do in each journal is not telling me what happens in the journal. It's giving me your opinion about that document. Right? Now, some of these documents are really famous. The I Have a Dream speech by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is in the book. Some are more personal, more small accounts of individual, regular people who went through big events in history. And so some of these you'll be familiar with, some you will not. You'll enjoy most of them, I promise you. And when you write your opinions about these documents, you're going to go on for a while, and you're going to say, okay, oh, I really liked what so-and-so said here. I never saw it that way. Here's what I think about this. I hate when this guy says that. You can see this in action in society today because of such and such, all right? But there's a distinction I want to make here. In the other video, I talked about critical thinking. And when you look at these history journals, here's what I don't want to see. I want to make sure you know the difference between the words summary and analysis. Summary is just telling me what happened in the document. This document is about such and such. Great. I read it. I know what the document's about. I assume that you've read it too. You'll also notice that each document has a little introduction that the publisher provided. You've got to actually respond to the document itself, not the introduction. So don't summarize the document. I don't want you to tell me what happens in the document. I want you to use analysis. I want you to analyze that document. Don't say this happened. Say, because I read this, after I read this point in this document, I think this. And go beyond just saying, here's what I think. Tell me why you feel that way. What makes you feel this way about this particular document? Some of these are going to be challenging, I won't lie to you, but you need to put in the effort and make sense of what you're reading. And if something made you happy, if it made you angry, if it made you sad, let me know. Right? Respond to this. Really sink your teeth into this. This is a treat to get to read these documents. And what I'll do is 4 times during the semester, that week's module will announce your journals are due this week. And I'll spell out in that journal collection assignment, one of each of the 4 times this semester, I want your responses to all of the following documents due by that particular Sunday at midnight, at the end of that week. All right? And it'll all be spelled out very clearly. And so 4 times you'll submit your responses to that collection of journals. Now, what you need to understand is how I'm going to score these journal collections, because this is the real trick. These are subjective, opinion-based writings. So, of course, I'm not grading you on the opinion that you express. If I disagree with something you say, that's not relevant at all. If I completely agree with something you say, that's not relevant at all either. I'm looking for how well you're supporting the opinions that you express. So what I'll do, it's kind of a complex formula that's involved in this, but I want to let you know this up front. Okay? Each collection will have maybe a different number of documents that I'm looking for. But each collection is worth up to 50 points for that journal collection. So what I'll do is I'll start off, let's just for the sake of argument, let's say that I'm collecting 10 journal entries, responses to 10 documents that time. So what I'll do is I'll figure out what's the maximum point value that each document response is worth. So in this case, if there was 10 documents, each one could be worth up to 5 points. I'll read your journal, and in each response, I'll say, okay, this is one of 3, possibly 4 things. It's a really excellent response. They've clearly said what they think about the document, why they feel that way. They've obviously read the document, engaged with it. Maybe didn't understand it perfectly, but you engaged with it. You gave it a great effort. It was really substantial. If that happens, I'll give you the full possible points for that response. You might write an entry in a journal that's fairly good. Maybe you mostly summarize it. Maybe you say, oh, I liked this, but you don't really tell me why. It could have been a little stronger, but it's certainly not terrible. I'll give you 80% of the points possible for that response. You might write something where you just sort of toss something off. Oh, I didn't like this. It sucked. I didn't get it. I don't understand this, whatever. I want you to put more of an effort into there. So if there's really not much of an effort to engage in this, I'll give you half the points possible for that one. Very rarely do I give someone a 0 on a journal response, where if they just don't put in any effort at all and say, I don't have any opinion about this. That doesn't even show me that you read it. But most of the time, you'll either get half the points, 80% of the points, or the full points for each journal response in that collection. And I'll total that up, and that's how many points you get out of 50. Okay, it's pretty straightforward that way. And when I send these responses back as well, you're going to see comments, okay, these were your stronger ones, these weren't as strong, that kind of thing. And you'll get the hang of this. It's just a great way for you to really sink your teeth into these eyewitness accounts to history. All right, I really think you're going to enjoy this journal assignment. I know I do. For me, it goes beyond just basic memorization of history, which would make history kind of boring anyway. This way you get to see what really it was like to live in the past and put yourself in the shoes of people in history. So I think you'll enjoy it a lot. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.